So biker gangs, for those who don't know, are incredibly well organised. They have presidents, secretaries, that sort of thing. And although motorcycle clubs were around in the early 20th century, they really kicked off after World War II, when you had groups like the booze fighters and the likes. And these seem to have just been veterans struggling to deal with civilian life. In one tour after World War II, some clubs seem to have got out of control and rioted in 1947. But this Hollister riot seems to have been exaggerated in the press, so it's hard to know exactly what went on, like with a lot of biker history in fact. Plus it was made into a movie, The Wild One, and that really helped kickstart the biker image. Well, over the next couple of decades, groups like the Hells Angels, Bandidos and Mongols began to grow, and they got involved in the drug trade, that sort of thing. And they also began to accept smaller groups into their organisation, and these, by the way, are called chapters. Anyway, here in Denmark, biker gangs kicked off in the 1970s, and a few of them joined together to form a group known as United. And they applied successfully, God knows how, to join the Hells Angels in 1980. But at the same time, a few more motorcycle clubs united to form a group known as Bullshit. Bullshit was formed in Freetown, Christiania, which was an old barracks which was abandoned, and then the people who moved in there declared it to be self-governing. And Bullshit managed to make a hell of a lot of money selling drugs there. So the two gangs began competing for dominance in the drug trade, and in 1983 3 members of Bullshit entered into a Hells Angels bar, but 2 of them were killed. And over the next couple years, the Hells Angels began targeting the leaders of Bullshit, and they shot a couple of them. But in 1992, a new gang known as the Undertakers began to emerge, and they were accepted by the Bandidos, and they were also joined by the Outlaws in Norway, the Morbids in Sweden, and the Clan in Finland. So they were now competing for dominance over the drug trade across all of Scandinavia, and given the size of it, it became a little bit more fierce, and fighting began in 1994 in Helsingborg in Sweden, when there was a shooting in a Bandidos clubhouse. Bandidos responded by firing an anti-tank rocket at a Hells Angels clubhouse, and over the next 3 years there was violence across Scandinavia. There were shootings in Norway, fights in Copenhagen, there was another anti-tank rocket in Helsinki, and there was even a couple car bombs and an attack in an airport. The whole thing seems to have just ended peacefully, but first of all I should say there were just a handful of deaths during this whole time, and the 2 leaders just shook hands on TV and the whole thing was over. But in recent years, it seems that the Hells Angels in Denmark may be in a feud with the Black Army.